In 2002, Jack Whitaker won $314 million in the Powerball lottery. Within 5 years, he was broke, his granddaughter was dead from a drug overdose funded by his money, and he told reporters he wished he'd never bought the ticket. But here's the part nobody talks about. Whitaker wasn't some reckless guy. He was already a millionaire before the lottery. He ran a successful construction company. He knew money, and he still lost everything. 70% of lottery winners go broke within 5 years. Professional athletes, musicians, people who inherit fortunes, same pattern. And the easy explanation is that they were irresponsible. But that's not what the research says. The research says their brains sabotaged them using the same 6 psychological traps that are running in your head right now. You just can't see them because they look like normal thinking. The first trap is called the hedonic treadmill. You get a raise, and for about 2 weeks, maybe a month, you feel great. Then your brain adjusts. The new salary becomes the new normal, and you feel exactly the same as before. So you start wanting more, not because you're greedy, but because your brain literally recalibrates its baseline every time your circumstances improve. Psychologists call this hedonic adaptation. Researchers at the University of Michigan tracked lottery winners and found that within a year, their reported happiness levels were no different from people who hadn't won anything. Their brains had fully adjusted to the new income. The thrill was gone. This is why lifestyle creep happens. You make 50 grand, you eat at Applebee's. You make 80 grand, now it's nicer restaurants. You make 120 grand, you're booking trips you would have called insane 3 years ago. Each level feels normal within months, and because each level feels normal, you never feel ahead. You're running faster on the same treadmill. The fix isn't to stop wanting more. The fix is to lock in your baseline before your brain adjusts. When you get a raise, automate the difference into savings or investments before you ever see it in your checking account. If your paycheck goes up by $800 a month, move 600 of it somewhere. You won't touch it the same week you get the raise. Your brain can't adapt to money it never experienced spending. That's how you beat the treadmill. You don't fight your psychology. You just move faster than it can adjust. The second trap is anchoring. Whatever number you saw first becomes the reference point for every number that follows. And when it comes to money, the most dangerous anchor is your first real salary. Behavioral economists have studied this for decades. In negotiation experiments, when a random number is introduced before people make a financial estimate, their answers cluster around that random number even when it has nothing to do with the question. Your brain latches onto the first number it sees and uses it as a starting point for everything after. Now think about your career. If your first job paid 38 grand, your next negotiation probably targeted 45, maybe 50. Not because that's what you were worth, but because 38 was your anchor. Someone with the exact same skills, whose first job paid 65 grand, negotiates for 75 or 80. Same ability, different starting number, completely different financial trajectory for the next 20 years. This is how two people with identical talent end up with wildly different lifetime earnings. It's not performance, it's the anchor. And the worst part is you don't even know it's happening because the number feels reasonable. It feels like your range. But your range was set by your first offer, not by what the market would actually pay you. How do you break the anchor? Before any negotiation, do your research and write down the market rate for your role. Not what you currently make. Not what feels like a reasonable bump. The actual number that companies are paying for your skill set right now. Make that your reference point. Your brain will resist it because it doesn't match your anchor. It'll feel greedy or unrealistic. That feeling is the anchor pulling you back. Ignore it. The number on the paper is reality. The number in your gut is a leftover from your first job. The third trap is the Diderot effect, and you felt it even if you've never heard the name. Denis Diderot was a French philosopher in the 1700s. He lived in poverty most of his life until he suddenly received a large sum of money. The first thing he bought was an elegant scarlet robe. Beautiful thing. But when he put it on and looked around his apartment, everything else looked shabby. The old chair didn't match, the desk looked cheap, the curtains were wrong, so he replaced them. One by one, he upgraded everything in his home until he was broke again. One purchase triggered a cascade of purchases he never planned to make. That's the Diderot effect. You buy a new couch, and suddenly the coffee table looks outdated. You get a nicer car, and your clothes feel like they don't match. You renovate the kitchen, and the bathroom starts bothering you. Each upgrade creates a gap between the new thing and everything around it, and your brain demands you close that gap. Retailers understand this better than you do. It's why car dealerships push accessories the moment you agree on a price. It's why Apple sells the case, the charger, the AirPods, and the watch right next to the phone. Each purchase makes the next one feel necessary. The defense is simple, but it requires awareness. When you buy something significant, pause for 30 days before buying anything related to it. Give your brain time to stop comparing. Most of the need disappears once the novelty fades. The scarlet robe still looks great next to the old desk. You just have to let your brain get used to it. The fourth trap is mental accounting, and this one was identified by Richard Thaler, who won the Nobel Prize for it. Mental accounting is when you treat identical amounts of money differently based on where it came from. Here's how it works. You get a $2,000 tax refund, and you immediately think about what fun thing to buy, but you would never take $2,000 out of your savings account to buy the same thing. It's the exact same money. $2,000 is $2,000, but your brain categorizes the refund as bonus money or free money and gives you permission to spend it differently. The same thing happens with cashback rewards, birthday money, side hustle income, gambling winnings. Any money that arrives outside your normal paycheck gets filed in a separate mental drawer, and the rules for that drawer are looser. You spend it faster, more impulsively, and on things you wouldn't normally buy. Thaler's research showed this isn't a minor quirk. It fundamentally changes how people build or destroy wealth. People who treat all income the same, regardless of source, accumulate significantly more over time than people who mentally separate their money into categories, because the moment money lands in the bonus category, it's already spent in your mind. The fix is to eliminate the categories. Every dollar that enters your life gets routed through the same system. Paycheck, side hustle, refund, gift, it all goes to the same place first. Then you decide what percentage goes where based on your actual plan, not based on where the money came from. When you remove the mental labels, you remove the permission your brain gives itself to waste money it got for free. The fifth trap is present bias. Your brain is designed to choose a smaller reward right now over a larger reward later, and the gap between right now and later is where most financial plans go to die. Researchers tested this with a simple question. Would you rather have $100 today or $200 in a year? Logically, waiting a year to double your money is an incredible deal, but most people take the 100, not because they did the math and decided the 100 was better, because the 100 is real. It's here. The $200 in a year is theoretical. Your brain discounts it automatically. This is called hyperbolic discounting, and it explains just about every financial mistake people make on autopilot. Why you skip the 401k contribution, why you take the cheaper lease instead of buying, why you scroll past the investment app and open a shopping app instead. Each decision individually feels harmless, but compound them over 10 or 20 years and the cost is staggering. A 25-year-old who invests $300 a month for 40 years at a 10% average return ends up with roughly $1.6 million. A 25-year-old who says, "I'll start next year every year until they're 35, and then invests the same amount ends up with about 600 grand. That 10-year delay driven by, "I'll do it later," cost them $1 million. Not because they made a bad investment, because their brain told them later was fine. You can't fix present bias by trying harder. You fix it by removing the choice, automate everything, set up the transfer, the contribution, the investment so it happens without you deciding each month. When future you is already funded before present you gets a vote, present bias can't touch it. The sixth trap is relative deprivation. You don't feel rich or broke based on how much money you have. You feel rich or broke based on how much money the people around you have. Researchers at the University of Warwick found that people's satisfaction with their income depends more on how they rank compared to their peers than on the actual amount they earn. Someone making 70 grand in a neighborhood where everyone makes 50 feels wealthy. That same person making 70 grand surrounded by people making 200 grand feels broke. Nothing changed about their financial situation. What changed was the reference group. And this is happening to you right now, probably without you realizing it. Your neighborhood, your coworkers, the people you follow on social media, they're all setting an invisible benchmark. Every time you scroll past someone's vacation, someone's car, someone's kitchen renovation, your brain recalibrates what enough means. And it always recalibrates upward. This is why people who move to wealthier neighborhoods often start spending more even when their income stays the same. The reference group shifted. The old life doesn't feel like enough anymore. Not because anything about their needs changed, but because comparison rewired what feels normal. The defense isn't to avoid wealthy people or delete social media. The defense is to pick your reference group deliberately. If you're trying to build wealth, surround yourself with people who are building wealth, not people who are displaying wealth. Those are two very different groups. The builders live below their potential on purpose and put the difference into things that grow. The displayers spend everything to maintain an image. From the outside, they look the same. From the inside, their bank accounts are moving in opposite directions. These 6 traps, the hedonic treadmill, anchoring, the Diderot effect, mental accounting, present bias, and relative deprivation, are running in your brain right now. They were there before this video, and they'll be there after. The difference is that now you can see them. And a trap you can see is a trap you can step around. Pick the one that hit closest to home. That's the one to work on first. If you want to go deeper on the money psychology side, that video is on screen now. Subscribe if you want more like this.